Hello, it's great to be with you guys today. I just want to say hello and welcome to our podcast. This is going to be for this week. We did go over something very similar about really taking steps towards building a successful company culture about a week ago. But what I want to do is just take a dive into this a little bit deeper with you guys. So, you know, that live stream that I did go over a couple weeks ago, I want to go over company culture again and just hit some things that we didn't hit last time and why it's important to have a company culture, really paying attention to it. We covered some essential points. And if you didn't get a chance to see it, then you can still find it on my LinkedIn page. Just look at what I posted and the activities, and you'll see exactly where that is. You can always go back and take a look at other things that I posted as well. But today I wanted to take a look at this topic a little bit further and take a deeper dive into what steps can we do to build a successful company culture. And as we look through that to understand, I want to just give you a little reminder. Company culture includes the attitudes, the behaviors of a company and its employees, the intangible values and goals a company has in order to determine the operations and decisions being made within that company is part of that company culture. See, the majority of organizations today have carefully crafted mission statements. And although that's great, and it's a great start for them. Actually, living by a company value really means weaving those values into every aspect of your business and your company. Your employees, the patterns, and the customers will recognize and appreciate that your organization puts its values into practice each and every day. See, that consistent practice can create an environment that employees see. So let's get started into going through some of the steps that can be taken to credit the best company culture possible within your organization or one that you're seeking to go to. You better recognize certain things as we go through this. To start off, step number one would be to be able to recognize all the efforts of your employees. You need to realize how to contribute or how the contributions of said employees really make a positive difference in your company's culture. See, when the team members recognize the accomplishments of each other, then these individuals feel like they are part of something larger than themselves. They feel really connected to the team, even though these employees that are confident in their work or prefer to work on their own, these situations, everyone appreciates being noticed by peers or management. See, studies have shown that employees that feel like they're part of the company's culture increase their engagement each and every hour, keep them on board, and improve the productivity over their tenure. For example, you can use social media posts to give others a spotlight or create a program for coworkers to give shout outs to each other by having officially credited for something. Maybe it's time that they've been there. Maybe it's their 1 year anniversary, their 5 year, 10 year anniversary. Employees would like to continue to be contributed to on an ongoing basis, especially in social media, maybe even on a shout out on your town hall. So remember that having recognition as a company culture attribute, you need to make it consistent. There must be more effort made than just during milestones or some work anniversary. People look forward to being recognized so that they would work harder to achieve some genuine validation or frequent basis. They really would. Ultimately, you want your employees coming to work each and every day feeling great. And the best way to know what employees really care about is having them tell you directly from themselves and hear them out. So, when was the last time you surveyed your employees? Are you doing surveys on a regular basis to hear what they want to say? Let them be heard. So the next step is to create culture at work where employees are always encouraged to voice their opinion on subject matters, especially if they're subject matter expert. Without some sort of open door policy, employees feel neglected. They feel demotivated. They don't feel connected to their management or directors or vice presidents, even the founder CEO, board members. First, you need to collect feedback using the right kind of tools, such as a survey. Try to make it easy and convenient for employees to express what they're feeling in the moment. Make these surveys anonymous so people can speak candidly. You really want that information. You truly do. And without fear of any, repercussions from them speaking up. Many times, such tools vary depending on company size and resources. There isn't just one way to gather feedback. Then you need to analyze this information, analyze the results to see what's working and what isn't working for your company and its culture. Make a list. Then you analyze the results to see what is working and really double down on that. What's not working, you really want to take that and really create a new promotional plan on that. So as you're going through each of these suggestions or issues, see if any voices are saying the same thing over and over again. That gets a higher gravity or weight to it. Now, this is the big deal, right? What what more could you ask for, right? By getting this information, this is worth its weight in gold. You can filter through and tackle these points one by one. You can then act on those findings as soon as possible through, though, keep an idea open here because you really want them to still be relevant. So you need to act on this right away. Taking too much time could really leave your employees under the impression that nothing is really being done on this. Nothing's being worked out. You're not really caring about what they have to say. In addition to gathering this information, using a structured method to make sure you're paying attention to more subtle expressions or feedback on an email or meeting them one on one at the water cooler, on the floor. Get that feedback, and that can reveal culture deficiencies. Some employees really hold back on giving information because they don't think it's going to be really listened to. So you may need to change some of those ways of being inside your organization. So what can you do? You can pay attention to their body language. See, because body language can tell you a good amount of employees aren't willing to share information with you. Sometimes people feel intimidated, right? You could come off a little bit harsh because you're taking out all the fluff. Creating a corporate culture that employees see value in and find ideal for them to really excel and what's essential for them. It takes learning and tailoring certain actions and decisions. Similarly, to how you need to make your customers have positively like personalized an interaction or experience with those customers. You also want to you want to have your internal members to have a personalized message from you or the company and have those positive experiences. See, these experiences breathe motivation into everyone. And it's really, once one person feels that, the next person next to them feels that too. It could cause like a pandemic within your organization with culture. See, these could be the motivation points to really connect more with your coworkers and develop them deeper, and they can develop themselves as well. So let's just look at learning. I don't know if you have a learning and development team within your organization, but there is and should be an emphasis on learning and development. This is another great step to take um, and having your employees find that the company culture is growing. Great workplace cultures are formed by employees who are continually learning, and the companies that invest in staff development. There can be training sessions of some kind of coaching that can be available for employees or managers to be better at their jobs or even a more professional level. Give others new responsibilities and give chances to them. Show your employees that they are there to help um, their customers. You're there to help them with their goals, to serve the customer better, to serve the fellow employees better, right? Let them know that everyone's there to help each other. If you have any comments or questions, please put in the comments, and then I'll get to them in a second. Your business could see a significant boost with a culture that encourages internal learning and development, especially Con Ed. Having that continuing education as you find things that aren't working, your managers, your directors, your employees, you can bring these continuing education things forward so that so many hours are being done every month or every quarter or every year. Another aspect could always be the development for the future and having that healthy connection between colleagues, building a workplace culture that can handle adversity requires establishing a strong connection between team members. Really take each one of these with one sheet, break down what is the need, what is the purpose, and what's needed to be done, and who's going to be accountable or who's going to be responsible for each one of these. Although creating those bonds can be challenging at times, you must encourage collaboration and engaging in team building activities. Do not make working remote an excuse to not communicate with your team. It is harder. It's harder to talk to an employee via Zoom on how to split a screen on one of their monitors. How do you walk through that? It takes a lot longer over Zoom than if you guys were just sitting next to each other. So seek first to understand, then to be understood. That's going to be really helpful. Stephen R. Covey's taught that in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So take a look at that. So let's go to questions. Let's see what you guys have, if there are any questions out there. And let's see what we have first. So the first one is, what hiccups have you faced while building your company culture? Well, the number one thing on hiccups is you're going to have a lot of people that don't want the culture to be a certain way. They're going to be the naysayers. Yeah, we've tried things before, and it never worked. Nothing really sticks. This is great. This is the idea for June. And then July, they'll be on to something else. So you may have to turn that curve around. If someone was accountable for company culture, you may have to fire them from handling company culture and let them do something else, either within the company or outside the company. Bring somebody else in to be accountable to the company culture. If it's you, then you need to identify and maybe bring forward, like, hey, in the past, I really stunk in these areas, or my accountability or my integrity was out. I'm telling you today, it will be different. Changing the person would be great. Giving someone else an opportunity. It doesn't have to be you, the founder or CEO. It could be somebody else. It doesn't have to be COO. It doesn't have to be HR. Choose someone that really wants to have that purpose inside there, because you're going to have those people that are going to try and block whatever thing that you put forward. And then you have to listen to that. That's where the surveys really help out a lot. So that's a great question. We have one here from Joseph. Thank you, Cindy. How do you course correct when you have dev teams sliding into a head down development mentality? All right. And as we go through this, losing sight of agile and competing with their own team members. Well, that's the thing, Joseph. You really don't want these people competing against each other. In one mindset, it's nice when you do. That's called shaming. right? So here, look at these 11 people. One person, it takes them 46 calls to move one load, and this person, it takes them one call. You don't really want to get into that demoralizing attitude. You really want to um, empower people. Number one, I'll always empower someone, give them the opportunity of taking something upward instead of taking it downward. If you're going through the downward approach from CEO down, it could be seen negative. If you could empower someone at a lower level to take on company culture, that's even better. But it's going to be a little extra work for you, um, the C level, because you really have to identify what is that culture going to look like within your organization. Paint the picture from the visionary. Create a mission that says a mission is going to be cultured. So let's create a culture mission, and then who's going to be accountable to that. Now you have to kind of say, this is what I see it as. Maybe even doing a employee hierarchy. um, Poll your employees, what's important about culture. Is it to have a work from home policy? Is it to come to work once a week, um, during the week in a work from home policy? Is it that, is with all the people in the office, what is it that we need to change? Is the COVID scare gone now? Or are people still worried about it? So when you start identifying these things, that's going to help you out a lot, Joseph, um, through that. I hope that helped. And let me see if there's any other comments, questions. Nope, there's not. Awesome. So in conclusion, I really just want to conclude in this live session by really thanking all of you for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. We had a little hiccup in the beginning. I believe we fixed it, so things are good. So if you're listening to it now, you didn't even realize there was a hiccup. If you're a regular subscriber that comes to all the things that we do, you saw that we were live for a second, it wasn't working, and we killed it and came back. And doing this live, it's always interesting because you never know what's going to show up. And if I'm going to it, and I'm like, hey, where am I again? What's the subject? I need to be very present. And that's why I got the questions at the end. But I hope you got more insight on how a company culture can be built, changed, or even enhanced. You want to be aware of what your company stands for and how it wants to be perceived by the stakeholders or by the people outside. See, organizational culture can be developed even without your input, right? So if you didn't have an initiative or a mission to create the culture already exists, right? It's just you had the stakeholders take care of that as you went forward. But in the absence of that guidance, it may not be a healthy or productive culture. So you've got, as a doctor would say, you've got some cutting to do, and maybe some sewing and some healing. So how about you keeping these basic techniques right in mind as you're going through when developing your company culture? And if you already have a company culture or you don't, or you want to find out what it is, this is the time to go ahead and take a look. You communicate, have recognition, have action. By following these steps, you can improve the communication with your employees. Start creating a culture of recognition and ensure that all members of your team put your culture into action. What steps do you find the easiest to achieve or most difficult to follow with a company culture? How have you had success in building your ideal company culture? Send some of those messages in the comments down below. Let us all hear your thoughts and your questions. I would love to hear and answer any of them that come across. So let's connect. And if you're not following me, hit follow, and then hit the little bell up in the top right-hand corner underneath my picture, um, and that you'll be notified every single time we have a live. So thank you very much for being here. Have a blessed week, guys and girls. Bye-bye.